Are you good? Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you guys introduce yourselves and tell me where you're at school and what you're doing here at Penn?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Phil Williams. I'm a second-year medical student at the Perelman School of Medicine. Actually, all three of the co-founders of SpectrumScores are second-year medical students at Penn.
Mm-hmm. And I'm June. I'm also a second-year medical student at Penn. And we have someone who's unable to make it today. His name's Naveen, and he's also our classmate in the second year. Yeah.
Cool. So your product is SpectrumScores.org. So can you tell me a little bit about SpectrumScores and what it does and what you guys have done in the past couple of months?
Absolutely. So SpectrumScores is a website and eventually a mobile app that will help connect LGBT patients to competent and friendly healthcare professionals.
Think of it like a Yelp for connecting LGBTQ patients with a LGBTQ knowledge-specific, friendly, and competent doctors in the area.
So the way that the product works is allowing our users to score providers on the basis of LGBTQ plus specific metrics that we've developed with the help of providers at Penn, as well as to leave subjective reviews of healthcare professionals. The idea being that the providers that are able to meet the specific needs of this community exist and are out there, but currently there's no systematic way for an LGBT patient to connect with the providers that are best able to meet their needs.
Okay, so cool. So can you tell me about where this product is currently operating in, like the cities that you guys are working in?
Sure. So we're currently operational in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, New York City, and Chicago. And what that means is that we've populated the website with many healthcare providers in each of these cities, and we're currently working to get to build our user base in each of these cities to start to accumulate reviews to make it as useful as possible for the patients who are trying to connect to providers.
And our eventual goal is to open it up to the entire nation. And I think our eyes are currently set on the West Coast. Obviously, there's a lot of technological developments being made there, and we definitely want to provide the best healthcare service for LGBTQ patient population there. Yeah.
That sounds really amazing. So you guys started this project while you're at Penn. So can you tell us how Penn has helped you guys implement your ideas and carry it out?
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about that. So the medical school is very unique in that it has a student-run organization called HealthX, and HealthX has a division of a small student accelerator called HealthX Labs. And last year we were fortunate enough to be a part of HealthX Labs as a team between Naveen, Phil, and I, and we kind of got together, brainstormed ideas, and eventually came up with SpectrumScores. And Penn has really lent us a lot of hand in providing us with the right advisors to kind of brainstorm how we can take this product. There's been tremendous help from the Center for Healthcare Innovations at the Smilo Center. In terms of funding, we were definitely fortunate enough to get a lot of the initial seed funding as well as some of the winning fundings, which led us to go to a national stage and win some more money. I think it comes down to advice and funding for software startups, especially.
Yeah, beyond that, it's also, June kind of touched on this. Sorry, Naveen, I'm missing him. June touched on this, but a big part of the help that Penn's been able to provide is in an advisory capacity. So Penn is a site that's been a leader in LGBT health. And so despite even here, things aren't perfect, but there are leaders, people who are really kind of at the forefront of this area, and we've been able to tap into those resources as we've developed our metrics, as well as figuring out the right way to deploy this product to help as many members of the LGBTQ community as we can.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your plans for SpectrumScores in the next upcoming months or in the next year?
So we have a lot of ideas. Our first priority is to continue to expand to make sure that we can reach as many LGBT patients as possible, both in cities, as we've been focusing on purely because of the population, the need to build our user base, but also to begin to explore how we can best deploy this in more rural areas where the need may be even greater.
And eventually down the line, in parallel with trying to consolidate as much area as possible to cover, we're also focusing on mobile applications because we realize that a lot of users these days in our particularly target populations who are more tech savvy tend to go on their phone a lot, and a lot of the outreach we do through Facebook eventually links us through the website, and a lot of them are gone through the mobile channel. So we were hoping to leverage that market in order to increase our audience.
So that's kind of the immediate goal. And all of this is sort of on the user-facing end. So I'm trying to make it as easy for LGBTQ patients to locate the providers that already exist that can meet their needs. In the longer term, our goal would be to also improve the care being provided kind of from the inside out. As future healthcare professionals, we think that the care being provided in general is not adequate to serve the needs of the community. So we're working on some ideas, including potentially building cultural competency training programs to offer to medical schools or healthcare professionals, telemedicine services to connect patients in more rural areas to providers that can meet their needs. And so in the long term, we want to both help leverage the information that already exists to connect patients to the best providers, as well as improving the care from the provider end.
So this is our front page, and as you can see, there's a search bar in the middle, and that's where you can type the specialty, condition, procedures, or providers that you're looking for in a specific area.
And so, for example, if you were searching for a family medicine provider, you would type in family medicine, choose it from the drop-down. All of our services are tied to Google Maps, so you would then type in the location that you're looking for. In our case, we are in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And before we kind of go to the search results, I want to kind of walk you through the front page. There's some neat information in here about how we kind of calculate our Spectrum score, which is a score out of 5, and we use these 4 criterias. And here's some of like how the flow of the website works and some of the recent reviews, as well as if you want to find out more about our story, you can do so there. And now to go to our search result, after typing on all those criteria, you press search.
So what you'll see come up is a list of providers that are listed on the basis of their Spectrum score out of 5, as well as being organized through by whether or not they're a featured provider, which are providers that have a pre-existing indication of their LGBT competence. That designation can be found right here. You can further filter on by the types of insurance that these providers accept, as well as the types of languages that are spoken. So, for instance, if you were looking for a provider that accepts Aetna, which is the student insurance here, and speaks Spanish, that could come up. We're going to keep it general. So once you've found a provider that you think might meet your needs, you can look on their provider page. Again, you'll see the reviews that have been left on the basis of the 4 criteria that we developed, as well as the types of insurance that they accept and the contact information.
And the important thing, I guess, kind of to note here is the review section. As a registered user, you can leave a review, but at the same time, you have the option to become anonymous when you leave the review. It'll display an anonymous tag instead of your username, and during the sign-up process, you're not required to, actually there's no space to put your real name. So it's all done through the username you create, and you can actually, if you want to go to sign, you can sign out here, you know, sign up, and then you can create a new account. Oh, that's you need to actually type an email address, and then you're able to kind of specify your gender identity, sexual orientation, as well as birthday, and your location. And then it's so simple. You could probably do this in, I would say, 5 seconds. So, yeah. So that was sign up page, and you have a FAQ page. You know, pretty standard things. If you wanna, let's go back to our search results, and if you wanna finish up on this section.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's most of the important things. We also have a blog that we run, a press page that allows some press, if people are interested in press. But the main functionality of the website is through our homepage, searching for providers in a particular location and using the data that we've accumulated to help connect with the best providers to meet the needs of this community. Thanks.